is going on, family? It is your girl, baby girl Ari. Yes, I'm in pink. It says, too lazy, I'll have karma do it. Funny, right? So, what's going on, my family? God bless you. Today is June 12th, 2020. I want to preach a word that Carlos gave to me. Carlos Hernandez. He is one of the ministers for Jóvenes Celestiales. And I'm gonna read Matthew. If I can get my thing right. Matthew chapter 7. And I'm going to be preaching different parts. So there's going to be different chapters of what I'm going to be talking about. I have chapter 7 from verse 1 to 29. And each topic, the first one is judging others. The second topic is ask, seek, and knock. The third chapter is narrow and wide gates. The fourth chapter is true and false prophets. The fifth one is true and false disciples. And the sixth one is the wise and foolish builders. Okay? So I'm going to read this in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I'm going to be working on chapter 1 of judging others. Okay? So it says, in the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, do not judge, or you too will be judged. For the same way you judge others, you will be judged. With the same measure you use, it will be measured to you. Why don't you look at the speck of the sawdust in your brother's eyes and pay no attention to the blank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when all the time there is a blank in your eye, in your own eye? You hypocrite, first take the plank of your own eye. Then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. Do not give dogs what is scared. Do not throw your pearls to pigs. If you do, they may tremble them underneath their feet and turn your tears into pieces. Okay, so I'm going to explain everything. So this is verses 1 through 2. It says, judge not, that you will not be judged. For with what judgment you judge, you will be judged. With the same measure you use, and it will be measured back to you. Judge not, that you be not judged. Here, Jesus moved to another idea in the Sermon of the Mount. Okay? He had primarily dealt with themes connected with the interior spiritual life, attitudes and giving, prayer, fasting, and other stuff, and anxiety over material things. Now he touches on an important theme related to the way we think of and treat others. So I wrote this down. We remember that Jesus called for a righteousness that was greater than that of the scribes of the Pharisees. Matthew 5:20. That's in that area. In some way, some people think the way to make oneself more righteous is to be more judgmental of others. Jesus rebuked that kind of thinking. Judge not, that you be not judged. With this command, Jesus warned against passing judgment upon others, because when we do so, we'll be judged in a similar manner. Among those who seem to know nothing about the Bible, this is the verse that seems to be most popular, yet the most people who quote this verse do not understand what Jesus said. They seem to think that Jesus commanded a universal acceptance of any lifestyle or of any lifestyle or teaching. Just a little later, the same sermon, Matthew 7:15-16, Jesus commanded us to know ourselves and others by the fruit of their life, and some sort of asset is necessary for that. The Christian is called to show unconditional love, but the Christian should not be called of unconditional approval. We really can love people who do things that should not be approved of. So while this does not prohibit examining the lives of others, it certainly prohibits doing it in the spirit it is often done. An example, an unjust judgment was the disciples' commendation of the woman who came to anoint the feet of Jesus with oil. That was in Matthew chapter 26, verses 6-13. They thought she was wasting something. Jesus said she had done a good work that would always be remembered. They had a rash, harsh, and unjust judgment. We break this command when we think the worst of others. We break this command when we only speak to others in their faults. We break this command when we judge an entire life we judge an entire life only by its worst moments. We break this command when we judge the hidden motives of others. We break this command when we judge others without considering ourselves in their same circumstances, which means we can't judge others based on what's going on with them because you haven't been in their shoes. All right? We break the command when we judge others without being mindful that ourselves will be judged. For with what judgment you judge, you will be judged. Jesus did not prohibit the judgment of others. He requires that our judgment be completely fair, and that we only judge others by a standard we would also like to be judged by. When our judgment in regard to others is wrong, it is often not because we judge according to the standard. It's because we are hypocritical in the application of that standard. We ignore the standard in our own life. It is common to judge others by one standard and ourselves by another standard, by far more generous to ourselves than others. Then it says, with the measure you use, you will be measured back to you. This is the principle upon which Jesus built the command. Judge not, that you be not judged. Sorry, I'm like in the mood. Then it says, God will measure upon us according to the same measure we use for others. This is a powerful motivation for us to be generous with love, forgiveness, and goodness to others. If we want more of those things from God, we should give more of them to others. According to the teaching of the rabbis in Jesus' time, God had two measures that he used to judge people. One of the measures was justice, and the other measure was mercy. Whichever measure you want God to use with you, you should use that same measure with others. So if you're going to be kind to a person, be kind to another person. If you're going to, treat others the way you want to be treated. Because I know a lot of people are going through stuff right now with this pandemic and everything that's going on. And before this, you can't judge a person based on what you see. You can see a beautiful person on the outside, but in the inside, how do you know how they're feeling, And we should only judge others' behavior when we are mindful of the fact that we ourselves will be judged, and we should consider how we want to be judged. So in verses 3 and 5, it talks about Jesus illustrating something regarding judging. So this is what I'm going to say. And it says, why do you look at the speck in your brother's eye? Do not consider the plank in your own eye. Or you can say to your brother, let me remove the speck from your eye, and look, a plank is still in your own eye. Hypocrite. First, remove the plank from your own eye. Then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. Why do you look at the speck in your brother's eye, but do not consider the plank in your own eye? The figures of a speck and a plank are real figures, yet used humorously. Jesus shows how we are generally far from tolerant to our own sin than we are to the sin of others. Though there might be a little speck in your own eye, there's obviously not literally a speck in your eye or a board in your eye, but Jesus used this exaggeration humorously pictures to make his message easier to understand and more memorable. It is a humorous picture, a man with a board in his eye trying to help a friend remove a speck from his eye. You can think of the picture without smiling and being assumed by it. An example of looking for a speck in the eye of another while ignoring the plank. Not right now. And while ignoring the plank in one's own is when the religious leader brought the woman taken in adultery. Right here. Isaiah. Sorry. I was trying to preach. My cousin came in. I'm sorry. Back to what I was saying. An example of looking for a speck in the eye of another while ignoring the plank in one's own is when the religious leader brought the woman taken in adultery to Jesus. She had certainly sinned, but their sin was much worse. When Jesus exposed it as such with a statement, "Who is he? He who is without sin among you? Let him throw a stone at her first." John 8:7. Look, a plank is in your own eye. Jesus indicates that the one with the plank in his own eye would not immediately be aware of it. He is blind to his obvious fault. It is the attempt to correct the fault of someone else's when we ourselves have the same that earns the accusation. Hypocrite. Jesus is gentle, but he calls that man a hypocrite who fusses about small things in others and pays no attention to great matters at home in his own person. Our hypocrite-like stuff is in these matters is almost always more evident to others than to ourselves. We may find a way to ignore the plank in our own eye, but others notice it immediately. A good example of this kind of hypocrite stuff was David's reactions to Nathan's story about a man who unjustly stole and killed another man's lamb. David quickly commanded the man that was blind to his own sin, which was much greater. 2 Samuel 12. Then Jesus says, "First remove the plank from your own eye, then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye." Jesus didn't say that it was wrong for us to help our brother with the speck in his eye. It is a good thing to help your brother with his speck, but not before dealing with the plank in your own eye. Sorry, I have like 15 pages. And let's see, balance with your love, God. Balance love with discernment. Okay? Do not give what is holy to the dogs, nor cast your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn and tear you in pieces. Do not give what is holy to the dogs. After he warned us against judgmental attitudes and self-blind criticism, Jesus here reminded us that he did not mean to imply that all people of his kingdom suspend from all discernment. They must discern that there are some good, precious things that should not be given to those who will receive them with contempt. We might say that Jesus means don't be judgmental, don't throw out all your discernment either. The dogs and swine here are often understood as those who. And again, I'm sorry. It's just a lot going on, so I'm trying to, do some stuff. But anyway, the dogs and the swine here are often understood as those who were hostile to the kingdom of God, and the message that announces it. Our love for others must not blind us to the hardened rejection of the good news of the kingdom. Yet we may also see the next context of the previous words against hypocrites. It may be that Jesus, in Jesus's mind, the dogs and the swine represent hypocritical judgment believers. These sinning hypocrites should not be offered to the pearls that belong to the community of the saints. Jesus also spoke in his context of correcting another brother or sister. Godly correction is a pearl that must not be cast before swine. So it says, godly correction is a pearl, though it may sting for a moment, that must not be cast before swine, those who determine not to receive it. Then it says, nor cast your pearls before swine. Our pearls are precious gospel. Our pearls of this precious gospel may only confuse those who do not believe, who are blind to the truth by God of his age, 2 Corinthians 4:4, and may not only expose the gospel to their ridicule. The gospel is to be preached to every creature, Mark 16:15. But when the Jews were hardened and spoke evil of that way before the multitude, Acts 19:9, the apostles left them preaching them. Then it says, of course, Jesus did not say this to discourage us from sharing the gospel. Previously in this very sermon, Jesus told us to let our light shine before the world. Matthew 5:13-16. Jesus said this to call us to disconcernment, and to encourage us to look for prepared hearts that are ready to receive. When we find such open hearts, we can trust that God has already been working upon them. So based on what we learned today about judgment, it's when you judge a person, it may come offended to that person and may be like, oh, that's ungodly of you, oh, that is that, but for me it's different, because you're not judging. You're judging based off of how are you what are you doing that's making them judge you. Because I know a lot of people judge me because of the way I am. I mean, I'm fat, I'm this, I'm that. But that doesn't have to deal with me. God is the only one that sees me and sees what I'm doing. And glory to God, because God is so faithful. God is so good that he gives us so many chances to change. And no matter what we go through, he still is on our side no matter what. And that's what I love about him, because he's always there for me. He's always there for me. Even if I don't seek him for a day, he's always there for me. He's always giving me blessings. Like, he just gave me a blessing with my school. Like, I'm about to learn special ed and elementary teaching in my bachelor's degree. I'm gonna get my bachelor's. Then after that, I'm gonna get my master's. Like, God is so good, and God is so merciful. God is so, like, non-judgmental, but he's teaching us how to be respectful about it and not to be ignorant about it. And if some people don't want to hear it, then, they don't want to hear it. But for me, being judged is not only, a person. There's two different judges. One judges that, your appearance and how you are and this and this. But then another one is judging based off your relationship with a person. I could tell you, I have so many friends. I have, Jackie that teaches me stuff. She knows I'm hard-headed. But, she does it out of love, because she wants to see me grow. The same thing with JoJo. She wants to see me grow. The same thing with Carla. She wants to see me grow. The same with Denise. She wants to see me grow. This is a growth. This is growth. They're not judging you. They're trying to help you. They're giving judgmental love towards you, so that you can grow with your spirit, and then you can have, the fruits of the spirit in your life, because you need the fruits of the spirit of your life. I know we can't have, all the fruits of the spirit, but we're on our way to trying. God is not playing. We're at a time where, okay, now everything's open. Okay, we're taking our time, but you never know what can happen. It can happen today. Like, I feel like judging others is not good. I for one, I can blame myself. Yes, I have judged a couple people, but God told me I need to stop that. So then I cut it off immediately. When he told me to do that, because you gotta obey his command. When he told me to do that, done. Because I don't want to upset God. I don't want to make God mad at, get mad at me. Cause I know he won't, but he just don't like that. So, for me, judging people is not good. For me, it's not good. But you do judge people based off of your love. Be loving towards that person. If you're going to judge them, what, I'm gonna help you. I just want to help. I just want to help you out. But just judging based off, you this or you that, that's not godly. That's not godly. And yeah, this was that chapter of judgment, judging others. That was Matthew chapter 7, verses 1 through 6. 1 through 6, y'all. So I hope you enjoyed it. I'm gonna keep going until I finish. I hope you guys like it. I love you guys. I miss you. Hope to see you guys soon. I really do want to spend time with each and every one of you. Hopefully I'll have someone preaching on here. Hopefully. See what I can do. But thank you guys so much. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.